Well, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Mario Macias. Did I get it? I got it.
Perfect.
All right, cool.
It's good enough.
See, I knew right every time, like when you feel like you mispronounce a word or you just try and roll with it and be like, I got it for sure.
It's Macias. It's okay. You'll get it.
Macias. I
Yep.
got it. There we go. All right. So Mario, tell me a little bit about yourself and if you want what you do professionally.
Okay. Well, where do you want me to start?
Where does all the fun begin?
Hmm, well, I have a kind of like a little side thing going on. I think that's how you found me, right? Through my Instagram page. What I
Wait,
do is
so you're not a professional pizza maker?
not professionally, no.
Well, you make some damn good pizzas, son. Holy crap.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I kind of like started out as like, because my job is really stressful, and so I used baking as a way to kind of like de-stress and calm myself because what I do for a living is really taxing on your mind, and so what I started doing was I started making like, what did I make? The first thing that made and took to work and had some really good reviews was I made some scones. And so I think there were berry scones. And so took them to work and everybody loved it. And then I started making other things, baking other things. Then I started making clotted cream, which if you don't know what clotted cream is, it's a very long 18-hour process where you make basically butter out of cream, but it's like a really creamy butter. I don't know if you've ever had it before, but
18 hours to make something. See, I'm like a quick 2 minute in like the microwave type guy. Like, I don't know how to use the oven because I know that thing takes way too damn long to do anything. Even though I will say, taquitos in the microwave compared to taquitos in the oven, there is no
way
comparison. The
different.
oven wins. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like so the you have to set the oven at like a very low setting, and then you let the cream clot inside the oven, and then so like makes this really nice um, butter. I mean, the only way that I could describe it is like it's just like a cream cheese almost, but it's not cream cheese. Anyway, look it up. Try to look for it if you can. It's called clotted cream. It's really expensive because of how long the process is to make. Um, so you could probably find yourself like a jar probably about that big, and it'll go for at least 25 bucks just for a little jar of that. So yeah, I started doing that, and then I love pizza. I mean, who doesn't love pizza? I started getting into making pizza and started doing a bunch of research, looking at a lot of the Italian uh,
Cuisines.
yeah, cuisines, and a lot of the Italians who are from Italy looked at the pizzas, looked at the recipes, looked up the recipes, even doing a lot of research on the internet, because Google is your friend, and so came up with a really good recipe, and rest is history.
Well, you
Um,
mentioned a really good point about it being a form of therapy. If you don't mind me asking, what's your day job?
so without getting into where I actually work at, so I'm a social worker, and so what I
Okay,
do is
that's yeah, I get it. And social work, that's actually something I've been trying to get into just on the fact of helping kids and first of all helping
yeah.
people that might have tough situations. But I can see where that could be tasking. I'm just it's curious to me is the fact is that you found a way through baking, which I always talk to, like, especially pizzas in general. That beating that dough, man, I know that sounds stupid, but I'm like, it's literally like the scene from Rocky where all the meat's hanging upside down. Like
Right,
just you're literally cranking out the tension into that thing. Like you
right.
don't know how soothing that is, but like, would you ever thought in a million years that your like therapy basically would be making pizzas or just baking in general?
No, well, it kind of took off more when, so I was going to the gym a lot, and so I do, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I do Muay Thai. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you're familiar with that. So I do Muay Thai, and so when the gyms closed, I was like, shit, what am I gonna do? Am I just gonna sit here and not exercise, and kind of waste away? Because that was my form of therapy, sort of, and I was kind of doing some baking
Dude,
here and
you're
there.
talking to a fellow gym nut, man. I mean, I've been going every day for 8 years, and when the gym
Hmm.
shut down, I literally bought a home gym set. I have a Smith machine, I have all those lat pull downs, everything, like
Hmm.
$2,000 worth of equipment in my garage. I'm just sitting here like, well, now shit's opened again. So it's like, and now my new job is at a fitness place. So it's like,
Oh,
there we go.
nice. Yeah. So once the gyms, and they're still closed, the gyms out here in California are closed. Most of the gyms, most of the martial arts gyms, I should say, because it's close contact.
Yeah.
So that's why they're closed. But I did a lot of Muay Thai, and so I did more baking when the gyms closed. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do with my time here when I'm off of work? And how am I going to de-stress when I'm off of work? And so I was like, you know what? I'm really good at baking. I'm really good at making things. So I just started doing pizzas and started my own Instagram probably like a month ago, and it's really kind of taken off from there. So my wife really encouraged me to do that.
That's good because I mean, idle hands are the devil's play toys, what they say. I mean, I feel like,
Hmm.
you know, it was really impactful, at least down here in Ocean City, because I know a couple people, friends of mine, that own their own like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu schools, and it was so
Mm.
tough for them because they weren't considered an essential business. Neither were
Yeah.
most gyms, and it was like all these small town businesses that ended up having to close for so long. I mean, my gym that I went to for 8 years closed down permanently, so I had to go find another place. So it was like losing a piece of home, and I mean. I was talking to the trainer who owns one of the gyms down here. He's a buddy of mine. His name's Mike Otwell. And he was talking about
Mhm.
like this is so stressful. He's like, we can't work. You know, my place, I'm doing all this. He's like looking up all the qualifications for a central business. I'm like, it's a form of therapy. I get it because it's so hands-on contact. But I mean, at the start, we had hair salons that were still open. I'm like, that's exactly hands to face. Like, oh my God, like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, my wife, she's a hairdresser, and so she's been out of work since then. I think it April or May, and so she's kind of been hit with that as well. And so, um, yeah, it's been really taxing on her. But however, it kind of worked out because, we're going to have a kid. Which, by the way, she was supposed to be born yesterday. So at any moment she could be, going into labor right now. So. Um,
Are you excited?
y- you know what? I am. This is my first child. Really looking forward to being a dad, and really looking forward to, yeah, take on the task.
I mean, are you ready for something like that too? It's got to be crazy. Just only reason I asked is because the scenario we've all kind of went through recently with just the whole lockdown and shutdown and still stuff
Mhm.
being closed down. I'm like, man, that's a lot all at once too.
Well, so I mean, I'm at a really good place with myself. I mean, if I was your age, I would probably be kind of scared, but we're in a really good place, even though she's not working right now. We're in a really good place right now. Um, and I mean, it's unfortunate that, we are in the times that we're in right now, but during the time when we were pregnant, this whole COVID thing wasn't around. And so it was kind of like, it just hit us all of a sudden, and so we really didn't know what was going on at that time, right? Because COVID didn't come out until March, um, or there
Yeah.
wasn't really much media attention until March.
Well, there's so many points. Like the fact is, there's never really like an opportune time to have a baby. You know, it's just
Hmm.
kind of like a walk as you go type thing. But at the same
Hmm.
time, like, I mean, the world, like, now we're experiencing. Some people are experiencing like a second wave of it too. Like, down here, like my old job was at a casino, and then I just got a
Mm.
text today saying that 6 people got sent home confirmed with COVID, and like that was a big option for me not to go back, a nice sustainable career, but it just didn't feel like me. I mean, I think what the main thing of this pandemic did, same thing kind of for you, was just open up a little bit of the doorway into your heart and figure out, what am I going to do? I mean, like, you found baking as a good therapy session or a passion. It might not be your day job, but like for me, like I thought working out was everything. Then that got taken away, and then it was like, oh, there's actually other avenues I can explore other than just grabbing some weights.
Yeah, and to kind of like piggyback off of what you're saying about, you know, there's never really a good time to have a, I mean, I don't think that that's the words that you use, but basically you were saying that there's not really a good time to have a child, or there's not really,
A perfect moment.
right, exactly. There's not really a perfect moment to have a child, and you're absolutely right. There really isn't a perfect moment. But I think that if you have everything lined up, and if you have things that are going for you, I think that it's a good time to have a child, right? But I think that sometimes people tend to think that they're not ready to have a child, but what parent is ready to have a child? What parent knows how to take care of a child automatically? Just the only way that they know how to take care of a child is by utilizing their resources, right? Talking to friends that have children, talking to your parents, talking to other people that have children, and just kind of getting some ideas from them on what to expect, right? And so I think that right now where we're at is, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, I think that this is a really good opportunity for us to kind of just focus on our child and not really have to worry about the outside world, so to speak. So I don't know, kind of in a way, I want to say that, and on a positive note, I think that this kind of worked out because we don't have to worry about um, other people being around our child because everybody has this shelter in place. We don't have to worry about people coming over, wanting to come over, and saying yes or saying no. Um, I mean, because we kind of have a really good excuse to not have people
Yeah, dude,
come
bright side
over.
of
You
the
know what I mean?
pandemic right now. You don't have to have anybody coming over to wanting to see the baby and everything. Just be like, sorry, we got to do that social distancing in place.
Right.
That's perfect.
Right, right. But also in the same breath, it's like we kind of have to figure out, okay, well, is it going to be good for our child to not have people around the baby because during the first several months of their lives they are learning how to develop social cues and learning how to, even though that we're her parents and she could develop those social cues from us, but I think that would be a good idea for her to kind of get a little bit more uh, social cueing through other babies her age or a little bit older, so that way she learns how to interact.
I think its priority is kind of important just on the factor of with the COVID. If you want to look at another plus side, is the fact that you
Mhm.
get to be home, work from home. You get to be around. I think that's a big thing. I mean, you probably noticed just through doing social work that I think probably a lot of the kids that are dealing with a lot of the stuff that need to be taken out of their homes, either it's a bad environment or there's just like one parent home, because they're
Mhm.
struggling so hard to keep stuff going. I mean, I feel like generations that are coming up, a lot of kids, like, I mean, back in the day it was like, oh, your parents are divorced, and it was like this whole thing, like you rarely heard of that, like they would just stick together even if it was a thing. And then now it's way more common that you have a
Mhm.
single parent in the household, all the struggles of that and everything. But it's like, I mean, you could use so many of the stuff that you see on a daily basis as information and ways to make it different in your own life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that the other thing that we kind of are looking at is, okay, well, let's talk to the professional and see what they think. Is it a good idea to isolate our baby? But we also don't know where we're going to be at a month from now, 2 weeks from now, several months from now. We don't know where we're going to be at, and so I don't want to um, put ourselves in a situation where our child learning how to is learning social cues at 3 or 4 or 5 with other children. Um, and then having to kind of teach them along the way, um, because it's going to be a lot more work, right? Because once they're 4 or 5 years old, they're starting to develop they're starting to milestones with that age, and so I think that it's really important for them to um, be with other children at a certain point. But
Plus,
like I
some of the
said, we
most
don't need.
valuable moments that I have as a kid is watching my grandparents cook, and that's something you're going to be able to experience. You're going
Right.
to be able to show her this world of baking that you've been introduced to. I mean, like when you were first starting, you said you started off with scones and then bringing those into work, and then moving on, like eventually finding pizza, though. But at any point, did you not want to go a different avenue? Like there's pizza in one hand, and then next, there's a muffin path in the other. Like you didn't feel like hopping off onto the muffin train?
No. Uh,
You gave me the
no.
answer like I fucking hate muffins.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it depends on what type of muffin, but um, I think that pizza, especially during this time, because there was a lot of pizza places that were open when everybody else was shut down. But also, who doesn't love pizza? If you don't love pizza, then I mean, we might as well not be friends if you don't love pizza or if you don't like pizza in general.
Depends on what pizza we talking about here, man. You gotta tell me your
Please don't
basics.
say Hawaiian. Please don't say
Do you
Hawaiian.
really hate Hawaiian? Is it that much?
Uh,
Why does every pizzaiolo or some person that makes pizza just they're not usually a fan of Hawaiian pizza? I don't understand. It's amazingly good.
it, it's just it's garbage. It's garbage.
Garbage. That's
That's
how
how
I
I feel
feel
about it.
about deep dish. I don't like deep dish. I don't even really consider it a pizza. I consider it more of like a lasagna. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. When it's in a pan, I'm not a fan. That's my
Mhm.
motto: pan, not a fan.
Right.
But like when I eat pizzas, like it's Domino's was a staple for me as a kid. I mean, $20, your parents would leave you or something for the
Mhm,
weekend for like group, whatever chores that you did or something, and then you
mhm,
order Domino's. I mean, best encounters I've ever had in my life was like doing Uber. I have to pick up from a pizza place, deliver it to
right,
somebody's house, and they invite me in for a slice, probably because if it's 1 a.m. or something, they're stoned out of their mind and they just want to have a good time.
right,
But
right,
I mean,
right.
Domino's, that oregano on the crust. Oh, get your life together, son. I don't know what it is, but it gets me. It captures my soul.
Yes, I will. You know what? I will say that I grew up on Domino's. I grew up on Pizza Hut. I grew up on what's that other one?
If you say Little Caesars, it's
No,
over.
no, no,
Okay,
no,
thank
no.
God. That's what I call hot and ready bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God, what is it called? Oh, Round Table. So you have like those ones, Round Table, and all those other ones that everybody grew up on, right? And so I remember, when I first started doing these pizzas, I was like, I never want to have a pizza where there are too many choices for your toppings, because a lot of the times the customer is dissatisfied with the choices because they are so um, overwhelmed with the topping choices that they're just like, I don't know,
It's
like
like
just
when you
give
go to
me.
Baskin Robbins and there's double chocolate, then triple chocolate, then quadruple chocolate. It's like it's too much. It's way too much for your brain to
Right.
like process everything. So like for me, like I never was a fan of Papa John's. Honestly, I'm pretty sure there's a cult conspiracy going on. I've talked with Mike Pizza in the Sack is his name on Instagram, Edgar and Dr. Neapolitan, these other Pizzaiolo guys, but we were
Mhm.
talking. It's gotta be a cult, dude, because Papa John, I don't know. When I look at him, his hair is always wet. I don't know why. He just doesn't seem genuine to me, and I'm not a big
Mhm.
fan of Peyton Manning. But like, I don't know. There were the staples as a kid. I mean, I always loved going to Pizza Hut. I mean, before they put up the sneeze guard at the salad bar, it was like, oh shit, we were just eating people's sneezes all day, basically.
Right,
It's
right.
not. It's like
I actually used to work at Pizza Hut
that's where the
for a
pizza
minute.
comes into line. Like, how fun was that working at Pizza Hut?
It it wasn't really that fun because I was the delivery driver. Right? I started in the back washing their dishes, and then they promoted me to be a delivery driver. I remember when I first started that pizza job, like this dude that had been working there for 5 years, I think, he was like stirring the pizza sauce with his hand, and I was like, right, that was, I think that's the same look that I gave him when I walked into the kitchen and I saw that. And so
Gotta
like,
get
I'm
it
not
into
re-
there nice and deep like.
right. And so like I'm not really the type to go on snitch on people. I've never been that type of person, but I was like, this is food, dude. Like don't mess with people's food. Like don't mess with my food.
That's
Um,
one thing that is probably the most important when you hear about places that are like, oh, they're nasty, they don't clean, they don't do this. If you
dude.
fuck with somebody's food, you are going to get a shit ton of pain coming your way, not only from the
Right.
customer, but from the FDA because they regulate that so damn heavy.
Yes, yes. And so I went to the supervisor. I was like, "So how are you guys supposed to stir the pizza sauce because it was like a vat of pizza sauce, right?" And so I was like, "So how do you right?" And so I'm like,
Elbow
"How?"
deep in that shit, dude. I
He
love
literally was
I
elbow deep
can't.
in it.
Is it? Would
It
he have a
was
glove on at least?
no, he did not have a glove on. He did not have a glove on. And this is like I was this is about 15 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that when I worked at Pizza Hut. And so I went to the supervisor and I was like, dude, what's going on? Why is this dude just sticking his hand inside of this vat of fucking pizza sauce, just like trying to like really, and he was getting in there. Then like that same night, supervisor caught him doing it, and he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I think he got pissed off, and that same night they let him go." So he had been doing this for like 5 years, like just like
Nobody
elbow
fucking
deep.
caught him.
No one, or either they saw but they didn't want to say anything. But luckily, we had new supervisors that were there, and so yeah, put a
I
stop
want
to
to
that
be the
pretty
guy
quickly.
who's watching the security camera. Like, that's fucking Jim again. He's got his arm elbow deep in that vat,
Right.
spinning those pizzas. Think of all the people that probably ate his skin cells on that.
Uh,
Oh, man, that's
I
crazy.
don't even want to think about that. Yeah.
All right, so if you were a delivery driver, have you had any weird experiences with people? Because I feel like, I mean, I only did Uber for like a few short weeks just for like some side stuff during COVID. People were
Hmm.
tipping heavy because they were like, oh, you're
Hmm.
risking your life to give me this pizza. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm putting my life on the line. But I mean, I've been invited into houses.
Hmm.
I was invited to one guy's
Yeah, me
house, and
too.
we literally sat there and watched Pineapple Express. I'm like, this is I got the weirdest fucking stories from this.
Right. Damn, you're asking me to think back 15 years ago, and I can't even remember what I did yesterday.
It's like Total Recall, bro.
Oh, right. So I remember this one time. So I used to go to a lot of houses that were abandoned during that time. I don't know why. I think, yeah, it was weird. It was really, really
Wait,
weird,
were
like
they kids
place.
partying, like breaking into a abandoned house and then ordering pizza? Because there's an abandoned house, like not even, I think, like two streets down, and their front door is just always wide open. But we call it the crack house because people just walk in with like missing one shoe, no
Oh,
shirt
nice.
on. Yeah, and I mean, middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, cops just sit there like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is a trap house, but um, so yeah, this one time I remember I was delivering pizza. I'm going over there, and I kind of knew that something was up, but I don't pay any attention. I just go deliver the pizza, done and done. So I remember this guy. He gave me this check, and it was dark inside the house. There was like absolutely no furniture. There was like nothing inside this house. And I remember I took this check and he gave it to me and I was like, all right, cool. So I go and I go back to work to give them my nightly um, money that I
Earnings.
collected. And so they get this check and the check it's a washed check, and so he gave me like a false check with somebody else's information on it. And so my big mistake was that I didn't get a I didn't look at the picture on the driver's license, so he used not only a fake check but also a fake driver's license. I just took down the driver's license number down, put on the check, and that was that. Um, yeah. So
Did you get in more trouble than the guy that was steering the vat with his arm?
no,
That's
I
good.
kept on delivering.
Imagine if you were delivering a pizza and you had to go to an abandoned house and it was a Papa John's cult. They were like, finally, we can begin our seance because you brought us this pizza.
Right, right, right. Or I was like the sacrifice for the night or something like that.
Have you ever had like a really good experience like delivering pizza? Like either it was extremely well tipped or you got invited to a house and it was like just like a cool guy.
When I was delivering pizzas, there's this. I went to this house, and I don't. I guess it was kind of cool just because I was hella young back then, and so there was this one time when I went to go and deliver at this house. I remember uh, I go to the house, I knock on the door, but I could hear the TV on before I got to the door, and it was like super loud. And then as I got closer to the door, all I heard was porn, like playing super loud on their TV. And the dude walks out. He's like, "Oh, all right, thanks." He's like, "You having a good night?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, we're having a good night too. Just watching a little bit of porn and ordering a pizza." And I was like, "All right, dude." So it's kind of like more of an awkward moment than a actual fun,
I would have
cool
been like,
moment.
"What you watching? What you watching in there? I can hear it, you dirty little." See,
um,
I remember there's when I was doing Uber for I delivered to this hotel called the Quality Inn, and as I'm walking in, they have this thing where they have birds, like it's like kind of like a what's it called, an atrium or whatever it is that you hold birds in, like a bunch of not a
mhm,
cage, but like an actual like sanctuary type thing. But they have like 30 parrots and all these things lined up in this hotel. Now I've stayed there when I was a kid a long time ago, and I know one thing: when it gets really at a certain time, like in the afternoon, like around like 9 p.m. or something, and
mhm,
also really early in the morning, they scream and it sounds like bloody freaking murder. So I'm not paying attention. I'm doing this night run on Uber. I've already done like back to back calls. It's mostly Denny's and stuff like that, Grand
right.
Slams and all these other things. And I'm freaking rolling with this. I forget, was it Chick-fil-A or I think it was Chick-fil-A. Wasn't Popeyes because I know they're biscuits. But I'm rolling with this Chick-fil-A. I go and try and look for a door. Obviously, I'm looking around like, where's 516, 516, 516, trying to roll through. And I mean, I knock on this door, I set it down, and immediately as I set this food down, all I hear is like, I mean, sounds like people are getting stabbed. It's all this stuff. And it's just these birds unloading, just screeching and squelching. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like covering my ears. It sounds like a fire alarm going off in the house. Oh man, the dude opened up his door, goes, "Thank you." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Thank you." I'm like, "What?" Like it's so hard, but like it's those experiences though, man. Like, cause I mean, I had a really good one when I was a little kid, a pizza delivery guy came in, and I was in the middle of trying to get the Vidmaster achievement Endor, which is like a
Uh-huh.
3 hour achievement you get on Halo. And we didn't have enough money to pay for the guy, like pay for the pizza and pay for a tip or anything. So we just
Uh-huh.
invited him in the house, and he ended up like sitting down for a few minutes talking to us. Like, "What are you guys playing? Halo 3?" We're like, "Yeah." Like, we got to understand, we're in this achievement, man. We got to get this. And we've been working hours and we don't have enough money to pay you. He's like, and he just grabs a slice. He goes, "Have a good night," and walks out. I'm like, best fucking pizza guy ever.
Right. What pizza was this?
That was Domino's, and that's why I religiously buy Domino's.
Got it. Okay.
That's all I ordered as a kid. Like, there was no Uber Eats when I was a kid, which is why I always talk shit on Uber Eats, even though I've done it a few times. Is the
Mhm.
fact of you were confined to a menu as a kid. There was no, "I'm gonna get Chinese food. I'm gonna go get
Right.
Chipotle. I'm gonna go get a Starbucks." No. You got a pizza or you got mozzarella sticks if you're lucky.
Right. I remember, so I lived in Minneapolis for a year, probably, what are we in, 2020? Back in 2015, I decided to make the move to Minneapolis. And I think that's where um, my drive to want to do something with pizza, because eventually what I want to do later on is open up my own pizza place, right? And so I think that that's where my drive came from, was when I moved to Minneapolis, because I moved to Minneapolis to help my cousin with his food truck and kind of help him with the menu and do certain things with it. And so he took off. His business really flourished for several years, but unfortunately, due to unfortunate circumstances, he had to let that go. But I think that that was the driving factor for me when he and I started making the food menu and the food items and really making it into something that flourished, because he started off with doing pop-ups, and then after that, then he started. He had a food truck, and then it went from there to a brick and mortar. And so I think that that's where my drive came from when it came to making like baked goods and just food in general, because I remembered how he started and how much he loved it and how much he was his own boss. Like, who likes working for a place where you have to, you know, um,
Well, you're building something. It's like when you start a company. That's the main thing why people love starting their own companies now. Is the fact is you're your own boss, but at the same time you're actually making something in your name. You're building up your name. I mean, I think I mean, I'm still young, but I figured out like, holy crap, I've done, whatever, 10 years in the workforce, and it's all been for other companies. It's all been for other businesses, and I didn't leave a mark for myself. So it's like, shit, let's get something rolling. I mean, but even when you're thinking about making your own pizza place or something too, what would you call it?
so on Instagram, my Instagram name is No Luigi Pizza. And so my wife says she likes it. Everybody says that they like the name, and and how I came up with the name is because whenever I would talk to somebody, and it hasn't happened in a while, but sometimes it happens, and so I just kind of like laugh it off. But whenever I introduce myself to people, or when people that I know that I haven't seen in a very long time, they're like, "Hey, Mario, where's Luigi?" And I'm like, and usually I'll just kind of laugh it off. But after a while, I was just like, "He's up your ass,"
I
and
am so
so
I am so fucking glad you told me that now, and I didn't do this when we started the podcast. I was gonna go, "It's a Mia, Mario." You would have been that's when it would have ended 2 minutes in.
right. I would have been like, "Leave now." Um, but yeah, I mean, I started it. That's how I started No Luigi Pizza. I just came up with the concept. I'm really not too sure about it, but I'll be honest. I had a lot of, when I first started the Instagram page, I got a lot of people from Naples, Italy. Like, that's where most of my following is from Naples, Italy, and Australia. There's hardly anybody from California, and a lot of people are from Canada too.
Australia is pretty common. I mean, there a lot of cooking pages on Instagram are mostly like the main giant huge ones are usually like barbecuers that are happen to be from Australia. I know there's a small amount in America,
Mm,
but like Dr. Neapolitan I was telling you about, he's from Canada, he's from Quebec. Pizza in
yeah.
the Sack is from California. Edgar's from Ohio, more of those types of styles. But you'll come across people from Italy. They just come off a little bit more pretentious, I would say, when it
Hmm.
comes to like judging a pizza. Like, it's the type of people that sniff a wine glass and go, I can smell the tannins. Like, if
Right,
you
right, right.
put up a pizza, they're immediately judging everything about it rather than just being like, great pizza, man, looks amazing. I mean, because me, if you bring up a pizza, this is what I got to ask you this too, because this is why I judge a pizzaiolo, is what they call them apparently. So
Yep.
when you are debating on your crust, do you prefer a thin crust or do you prefer a thick crust?
I don't like thick crusts. I don't like thick crusts.
What?
I'm I'm more of like a thin crust person. The thick
How
crust,
how thin though are we talking about? I'm not talking about like thick to the point where like you bite into it and it's like, I call it false crust. It's where you bite into the crust and it's nothing but air in there. Like, you feel like you just
mm,
got tricked by like Loki from Avengers or from mythology, whatever.
right?
But I don't like it so thin to where when you bite into it, it's like biting into a shard of glass where it just shatters. You're like, oh,
Mm.
that's not.
Not that thin. I like a good bite in my pizza. And there is a really famous restaurant in San Francisco that sells, or it's a famous pizza restaurant in San Francisco that sells cracker thin pizza.
Ooh.
And it's really famous and it's really good. And yeah, there's a lot of hype around it.
See, I look at because there's this pizza place where I live called Lito's Pizza, and they come in like the little squares. They're like little tiny squares, but like the whole
Okay.
pizza. I don't like it cut like that. It's really awkward. I understand, but their crust is so thin. It's like a little paper plate thin, and you go to pick
Hmm.
it up, and half of it just crumbles on its
Just
thing.
falls off. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucking ash. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't eat this. Why do people enjoy this? And my whole family's like, it's amazing. I'm like, I want a nice thick slice where I can fold it up like a taco and eat it like that. Or depending, oh, this is a good question. Do you ever cut up your pizza before you eat it?
No,
All right, good
no,
man. Because
no.
my grandma does that, and I'm like, you're a psychopath. She's like, no, it's too hot. You cut the first couple slices with it's actually meant to be eat with a fork and knife. I'm like, I don't care. This is
It-
America, and we do
yeah.
things differently. Damn it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I don't like the crust that just disintegrates in your mouth when you take a bite out of it. I'm more of like has a nice bite to it, but also it's kind of like a hard crust on the outside, but also soft on the inside, kind of like a sourdough. It's like really like the outside, the outer portion of it is hard, but once you bite into it, it's really soft, right? And so that's the type of crust that I really enjoy. I cannot do the really um, thin crust where you just pick it up and the entire contents of the pizza slice just falls right off of it. I can't do that.
Some people could do like a raw dough too. Like they like their dough a little bit raw. I'm like, no, I want that thing like sometimes even black. Like what I really enjoy about a pizza is like when you see like I know I always like the slip up pizzas. Like I've had experiences where people have made a pizza and like I'm so sorry it turned out this way. It's like burnt or
Right,
something left in. I'm like, I'll take that. Like I like that kind of crust factor to I like the kind of crunch to it. I
right.
still like to be able to taste it. Um but I mean, what would you typically say is your style? Because I feel like everyone adopts different techniques and different ways of finding what they like to make the best.
Right. I'm more of like a classic, like the classic Neapolitans, like the classic cheese. Like when I've been making these pizzas, the one that really gets a lot of really good reviews, and what I mean by good reviews is by, my wife and my friends and stuff like that, is the cheese pizza that I make because I always make a four cheese pizza, Asiago, Parmesan, mozzarella, and goat cheese. And so that's my four cheese pizza. And so I get really good reviews on that. So I think that keeping it simple is the main goal when it comes to making a pizza. You don't want like a bunch of ingredients like the combination pizza, which is just way too many toppings on one pizza. And it's just really heavy when you get a slice of it and then all the contents just start falling off of the slice.
Fucking Papa John's again, man. I'm telling you, when they let you do the order online thing where you can put any amount of toppings, it's just extra money. You can put like 50,000 toppings on. My buddy put meat with fish, with vegetables, with like anything. Just throw your shoe on there. Who gives a shit? And it
Right,
showed up, and it was like this pizza slice that when you pick it up, it's like 5 pounds. And as
right,
you go to bring it to your mouth, it's all just right onto the
right.
plate. If
Yeah,
you got to pick it up with your hands, or no, that's what I don't like about Papa John's, okay? They look at you with this pizza slice while you're eating it, and as everything's falling and getting all over yourself, you're like, what am I going to do with the rest of it? And they're like, fucking pick it up, clown. That's
right,
what they like. They're laughing at you like that, and you're like, I don't want to. It's like you're going to
right.
eat it off the floor if I give it to you.
Where's the fork?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I I just enjoy just like the simplest things. I mean, if you just come to my house, it's just like we're kind of minimalists. We don't have a bunch of shit all over the place. When I have like the little knickknacks on every corner of the house or anything like that, it's just like super simple house, and that's the way that I build my pizzas is just really simple ingredients, really simple, just basically no fluff when it comes to building my pizzas because um, the more stuff that you put on the pizzas, the more of a likelihood that the contents of the pizza are going to fall off.
It's also you're not really
But
judging the pizza if you put too much condiments on it. Like if you're like, I'm gonna go get like a cheese pizza, that is mostly your skill on making a pizza. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a pizza that's the basic, but it's also everyone's relying on the taste of the actual
right,
pizza. Then it's like if I put tuna and meatloaf or whatever all over a pizza, it's like that just relies on the condiments to boost the flavor.
right. So yeah, tuna. Yeah, I've seen tuna on pizza. I have seen other things,
What do you
other
feel on
ungodly
dessert
things on
pizza?
pizza.
Because that's me right there. Oh, you want to talk about ungodly things? Dessert pizza. No, 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 no. If you
You
put
would eat.
Nutella on a fucking pizza, you are a savage and you probably sacrificed to cults. I guarantee you.
So you would eat a dessert pizza, or you would not eat a dessert pizza, but you would eat Hawaiian pizza.
What's your problem with the wine, bro? It's so good, dude. I love it. Pineapple and ham, man. You cannot complain. You're
I don't
talking
know.
four cheeses. I'm lactose intolerant or sensitive, so that's my night in hell. But I mean, I'll risk it for a slice of pizza, dude. But
Right.
pineapple on a pizza is pretty freaking good.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I've never been a fan of it. So I don't know. Do you guys have very many Mexican restaurants out there and where you live?
We have a good amount, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had al pastor?
I have not.
Okay. So al pastor, it's basically barbecued pork with like this really good red chili sauce.
Ooh.
And so people make it different, right? And so the traditional way, the way that you're supposed to make it is with pineapple. I've had it with pineapple, and there's some places that put like really thick pieces of pineapple, which I cannot do. But there are some people that make the pineapple really, really small that you could barely taste the pineapple. So I like that. I like that in that type of food. Because yeah, traditionally it's supposed to be made. It's made with pineapple, but I don't like it where it's big chunks of pineapple in there. And I think that that's my. I just don't like mixing something like pineapple with
Okay.
Canadian bacon
Are you
and
the
call
type
it a
of
food.
guy that doesn't like his food to touch on his plate?
No, I'm totally fine with that. I'll sit there and I'll put corn inside of my mashed potatoes all
That's
day.
another sign of a psychopath is when they're like separating their food, like leaving a nice gap. I'm like, hold on a
Hmm.
second. What is wrong with you? Like, I don't like my peas to touch my carrots. And I'm like, it's fucking peas and carrots for a reason.
Right.
Oh my
They'll
gosh.
sit there and they'll just like separate each pea, each carrot, even though it comes in like the bag, frozen bag of peas and carrots, they'll
Just
separate every
individual, like
single.
little grains of rice. I don't like I don't like this stuff touching each other. I'm like,
Right, right,
no,
right, right.
shouldn't be bad.
uh, um, yeah, so I think that the next experiment that I'm gonna do, it's an experiment. It's gonna go totally away from the classics and the simplicity of the pieces that I make, but so I've also made in the past. So, uh, are you familiar with what sopes are?
Sopazar?
No, it's not R. There's no R at the end. It's sopes. They're sopes.
Sopas. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So, I've made sopes before, and I've also made homemade chorizo. And
Ooh.
so a lot of people like the homemade chorizo, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see how that tastes on a pizza. So I may make a chorizo pizza one day.
Do you have to go and do you like ask around for any of the pizza community, the other pizzaiolos on like advice or tips to be able to help kind of I guess expand your own knowledge on the creating the craft? I'm like I feel like I would be looking at I feel like on Instagram though it's really popular for a food page to get popular mostly because people just like staring at the pictures of these mouth-watering foods. But I'm like
Mm.
man, it just seems like a lot of it's like, oh, it's like I know some people that are like, it's the size of the dough, it's the rise of the crust, it's the way you bake it, it's the way you put it in
Hmm.
the oven, it's all this, and it's like, man, I just want a nice slice that's gonna be like better than Little Caesars, which isn't that hard to beat. I mean, it's not microwavable pizza, and sometimes it's
Hmm.
better microwavable.
Um, so I will have to disagree with that because I have gone to places that are artesian pizza places, and some of them are. not really that great. And so to your point of that anybody could do a pizza that is better than Domino's, you're absolutely right.
Not
Anybody that makes,
Domino's, Little Caesars.
sorry,
Nobody
Little
beats
Caesars.
Domino's. Don't do that to me. Little Caesars. I'm sorry. That is
Okay, Little Caesars, sorry. So yes, to your point, yes. But also anybody could make something that's better than Domino's as well.
what did you just say to me? I would take somebody's kidneys out for a Domino's pizza. That oregano just gets me. I used to kill those things in high school. Just order like two mediums. Their deals are crap though, but I really like what they did with the community, which is like something I feel like you would be doing if you were making pizzas. If you owned your own shop, I feel like you'd be giving a lot back to your community. Like, do you
Yeah.
find like when you're feeding your friends and kind of feeding your wife in general, do you ever find like people asking for these things or maybe trying to donate some pizzas like during these hard times as well?
Yes, I have thought about that. And if you're going to ask me what's keeping me from doing that, I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that. And I think that I just need to kick myself in the ass and get that going, because I think that that is a part of what I do is helping communities. And I'm like, well, what the, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing with my craft if I'm not giving back to the community? And so, yeah, that's something that I'm really open to, and that's something that, yeah,
Imagine you are doing your social work stuff and a kid, you just take him from a home, you're going to find him a better place to live, and you have a fucking pizza with pineapple on it in the back. And he's just like,
uh,
thank you.
yeah, I don't know if I would give him a pizza with pineapple on it, but yeah, I
Hey,
would.
I heard someone today posted a picture and said, I love pineapple in my chili. That one I question, but I do not question the pineapple on the pizza.
What do you mean pineapple? Like chill,
It,
like so, like
like
kind of like a
diced up
mango
a
salsa.
pineapple and throw it right in the chili.
I guess it just depends on the person. So, I don't know if you've ever had it before. Do you know what tahine is?
Tahine?
Yes.
I don't.
You're you have serapes in your background and you don't know what tahine is?
This is what the blankets are?
Yeah, they're serapes.
Oh my God, I don't know where they keep coming from. I have like 5 of them. They just keep popping up. Ever since I was a child, there was these things. We get them
Oh,
from
really?
they just randomly pop up in my house. My mom either finds them at a thrift store or they just randomly show up. Like some person
People
comes in
give
the middle
those
of the night
up?
and
Wow.
freaking dude. These are everywhere down here, and nobody likes them. They're always just thrift store, or
Really?
somebody's coming in my house. There's one on my couch right. All right, see, there's one to my.
Oh,
Actually,
wow. Yep.
there's 2 over there. There's one I'm sitting on, and then there's one
Yep.
on my freaking couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have one in the other
So
room too.
so tahine is basically like chili salt. And so you put that on like your fruit and stuff like that. They sell it at the store. So if you're ever at the store, ask for
This
tahine.
this is called a serapa.
Serape. Yep.
Oh my God, I know the actual name to it now. Holy shit, I'd always just call it that blanket. I literally was just like, oh yeah, I have that blanket. That's awesome, dude. Holy crap, I just got my mind blown in a podcast.
um, but yeah, so where was I at? Yes, tahine and fruit. It's like a staple out here in California. You get fruit and you put a bunch of tahine in there with some lime juice in there, and you just like eat that stuff up. They sell it like on every corner out here in California.
Have you ever thought about making like a little bit of different style than just the classicals? Like maybe trying like well, I know you're talking about the crazy combination, but maybe more making like a more Mexican style, I would say pizza, like more of like a taco style, but using like I asked Mike from Pizza in the Sack, he was trying to find an idea of what he could do to make like a taco pizza, and I was like just use instead of pizza sauce, use hot sauce, and then use
Hmm.
diced up chicken and stuff, and do it that way. And I mean, I think the crazy combinations like people are seeing like pineapple and pizza is not going to be a super crazy combination. I mean, I've seen sprinkles on pizza, I've seen ice cream pizza, I've ideas of a funnel cake pizza, and I'm like, when do we draw the line at being Morgan Freeman and playing God, because that is insane.
Right. Well, funny you should ask. I have been kind of looking at doing something like that. Um, and so without giving up too much about it, just think of using masa. Are you familiar with what
I
masa
know
is?
what masa
Okay.
is. Yes.
All right, perfect. So using like masa, making a big pizza out of that, um, and doing other things with it. But yeah, that's gonna be my base. But that's just an experiment. I don't think I would ever use it as a selling point at like at if I do decide to do something with my pizzas or with my baking stuff, I don't think that that would be something that I would necessarily sell to the public. I don't, and I
Well,
think that the only reason why I say that is because I don't think a lot of people are ready for that, to be honest.
I can see that. I mean, it would be like the same thing. Like I try and think of like a crazy pizza combination. I mean, donuts are insane with just the crazy combinations they come with. But like, imagine using like a chip, like like a Doritos, like crush up a bag of them, put them in a
Mhm.
bowl, get them like to like a dusty powder, and dusting that on top of a pizza, making like I mean, Doritos pizza. That would definitely happen at some point. It might
Mhm.
not sound amazing, but I bet you it tastes good. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're going to design your own store, if you're going to design your own shop, that it was an idea at one point, let's say, I think it would be nice to have it a little different than all the other shops that you kind of see around, which is either
Mhm.
it's so corporate like Domino's. Domino's is like more of an executive, but I prefer the brick and mortar, the one with the red bricks out front, the stone to it. But they're all Italian flag. It's all Italian. It's never really anything that's not that way. And I'm like, can we get a shop in here that doesn't fall on those boundaries, that is owned
Mhm.
by a different, not an Italian person, not like the stereotypical, like, hey, like, I mean, that's all
Right.
it is down here. And I'm like, where is like there's either it's too corporate or it's so Italian. I'm like, is there a mix in between where
Mhm.
I can get like a nice slice of pizza without feeling like I'm in Italy or without feeling like I'm in an office?
Yeah. So down here in California, there's a lot of pizza places. Well, sorry, in the Bay Area. So I live in the Bay Area, and so there's a lot of pizza places out here, and a lot of them depending on what city you're in, it's just saturated with pizza parlors or whatever you want to call it, pizza restaurants. And so I noticed that the further north that you go in California, the less pizza restaurants there are. And so I plan on doing something northern California, like northern California, like past Oakland, California, to do something like that because it's not that saturated. And I did some pizza recon recently, and the you know um, the quality of the pizza wasn't quite there. Or at least that's how I felt. Maybe I'm just a little pretentious, but
Well, it
um,
depends. If
yeah.
you're able to take a napkin and put it on top of a piece of pizza and then also soak up all the grease onto that napkin, that's a shitty pizza.
Mhm. I will say that it's not a shitty pizza. What it is that it's the cheese. So there's a low moisture cheese, and then there's the other type of cheese,
Don't you
which is
stick up for the dough roller. Don't you stick up for those sons of bitches.
so like with mozzarella, there's low moisture, and then there's like the high moisture, right? And so the higher the moisture of the cheeses, the greasier it is. But also, a lot of the pizza parlors will put cheddar cheese on their pizzas, which is uh, pizza making faux pas. So if you have a really greasy pizza, then it's probably because they used cheddar or like a really high moisture or high oil mozzarella or whatever type of cheese that they're using.
Would you ever do like a delivery part to your business if you owned one?
Yes, I would. And that would be something that I would start with, like doing it with bikes or something like that instead of using cars, just to kind of make it a little more green, and not use too many cars. Just keep it local in the beginning, and I don't know, who knows? Maybe people will want more of it and just kind of expand. I mean, I don't know. I'm still in the beginning phases of it, and I'm not too sure where this entire thing is going to take me. But it's kind of in the works, and I'm still trying to figure things out.
I would have to say like a little bit what's important. Like I know there's a sushi place in my town, mostly on like the west side of it. It's
Hmm.
got a it used to be a bank, but then it turned into a sushi restaurant. So they used a drive-through to just give people sushi through the window, which I think is pretty freaking unique. I was like, you could do that with a pizza place. Imagine just rolling up to like a drive-through or teller or bank teller window, and somebody just hands you a slice of pizza or hands you like a pizza or something. But I think the most important part is what I really loved about Pizza Hut, even though I wasn't like I never really ordered from there, was the fact of I would go there to eat pizza with my family. And I was like, that's the
Hmm.
most important part, is those experiences that I think a lot of people really kind of took for granted and now are starting to realize how important it was, which was the whole atmosphere and experience of going out to eat with your family. I mean, going into Pizza Hut and playing the same cool summer night song over and over again on the fucking jukebox, to where some dude's like, turn it
Right.
off, but it's like, I can't. They got this or they got Burt Bacharach. Which one do you want? It's like, I don't want to hear Burt Bacharach.
Right. Um, yeah, I think speaking of nostalgia, so I'm not originally from the Bay Area. I'm originally from a city in a little bit south of the Bay Area, and so we have what's called a Me and Ed's, and so that was like the pizza that I grew up on. Used to go to like those pizza parlors and go play video games when you're a kid and go to the jukebox begging your mom or your dad for quarters to go play a song or whatever, and it was like probably a shitty song back then, or NWA or something to that effect that you would want to play on the jukebox. But
Did you
I
just say
remember
shitty and then NWA in the same sentence?
I said would probably have shitty. I think that's what I said. Who
Okay.
knows?
So probably a lot of people listening that are going to be offended by NWA
Oh
being.
no, I love
Okay,
NWA.
good. All right.
I love NWA. I love like all the old rap groups and stuff like that. Um, but yeah,
Let's
just like going. What were you gonna
let's
say?
say let's do an example of a terrible band and say like, I don't know.
Nickelback.
Um yeah. Why did they get shit on so much? Their songs weren't that bad.
Really? You don't think
Look
so?
at this photograph. Oh, and then I want to the Rockstar song. Those are the only two I like. The rest of the whole album can just get tossed in the trash.
I think they were called. So my cousin, he was in a band called. Oh, geez, I can't remember, but they're like really popular in Japan, and so he used to call Nickelback butt rock for whatever reason. I never really asked him what he meant by that, but he used to call Nickelback and groups just like that butt rock. So
I'll
yeah, I
put
guess
my
that's.
nickel back. That's what they always say. It's because they're from Canada. That's why people don't like them for some reason.
I'm
Do you
trying to think of.
remember when MTV was MTV and it wasn't just
Hmm.
pregnant chicks and whatever the
Hmm.
teen mom
In
shows?
drama, yep, yep.
Those were the staples of the days, man. I wonder if this is all going to start turning back. Like VH1's actually going to be music again, not just like here's interviews and 60 Minutes is going to come back. Maybe Larry King. He's like 80. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to live to be 1,000.
I hope that VH1 or MTV brings back like the music videos, because that's what MTV and VH1 thrived on, was the music videos. I kind of miss watching like the 80s music videos and the 90s music videos and stuff like that. I guess I just dated myself.
I missed watching the Black Eyed Peas on MTV. That was a staple when I would go to school in the morning. You hear pump it louder. And Fergie would come up on the screen. You're like, God, I don't know why. I'm feeling this emotion right now, but I like it.
Did you guys ever have the box where you like call a number, then you press a number, you kind of like um, pay for the next song to come on the TV or anything like that? Did you ever have that?
I don't think I had that one.
No. Okay, I guess I grew up in a cool era. Um,
Oh,
where
oh. Getting me on that one, aren't you?
so there used to be this thing called the box, and you used to call this number, and there would be like a like I don't know, let's say TLC would come on and it would have a number that to that specific track, and then you would call this 1-800 number, then you would punch in the number of the track that you wanted, and you would pay something like $5 or $2.99 or something like that. And I remember I did that this one time. by taking one of my parents' cards and trying to get the song, and they charged like $25 for one song.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was because it was like a surcharge and some other shit that they're trying to charge you that was probably not legal at the time. So yeah, I got in trouble for that.
I got in trouble one time with that, and that was when On Demand had the movies on there that you buy, and at the time it was reasonably cheap. It was probably $4.99. I know that doesn't sound super reasonable for a movie, but compared to what it is now, it's like $10 for a movie. So
Hmm.
I didn't know what that meant by a card. So when I paid for it, it was on their MediaCom bill. So I just thought it was
Oh,
free movies. So when I was a kid, I spent like during the weekend, I had a buddy over, and I think it was like my parents were like gone all night or something. I don't know, maybe got a hotel room. I have no clue. I don't have any siblings. That one. But I ordered I watched like 12 movies that were like $5.99 a pop. And I remember when that freaking thing came in the next month, like, when did you? I'm like, that was a month ago. Why are you yelling at it now? It's like, I just got the bill. I'm like, you're telling me that wasn't just free things? Like, no, we don't have free cable. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe I
oops.
wasted $4.99 on the fucking Mist. Holy crap. I felt so bad about that one. I was like, I didn't even watch the full thing. I got that and Little Miss Sunshine. I bought Little Miss Sunshine and I watched like the first minute and I was like, I don't like
I
this.
don't like this. Wow, that's
It's
hilarious.
not pick and choose. This isn't freaking all you can eat at Papa John's where you just pick your own toppings and throw it all on one pizza. What won't they add on a pizza?
What won't they add on a pizza?
Yeah, I feel like there's just one condiment that they won't put on there. Like I've seen Vegemite on a pizza and I don't know about that
Ugh.
one.
Glass shards? I don't know.
I feel like you could order that if you asked really nicely. Like, you ever leave the little custom comments for them when they make the pizza? Like, can you cut it into a Batman symbol? Or can you draw a pentagon in my pizza? They'll freaking do it.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I
Huh.
had my buddy left a comment saying he wanted every single topping. And then he said, I know it's not on your thing, but can you also add double meat? And they don't do double meat. And Papa John's did it. And also, he said, write a note in the box. And we open it up, and on the top of the lid, it says, we weren't supposed to do any of this, but we hope you enjoy your pizza and also your high cholesterol. And I thought that was the funniest thing. And that's the only time I've ever had a good experience at Papa John's. The other time, I just see him on the commercials with the Super Bowl, and I'm like, your hair's wet, man. When the fuck are you taking a shower, and why are they recording you right after you take a shower?
Didn't the owner of Papa John's get in trouble for something?
Probably. I think it's like Jared from Subway. Like I said, I don't. There's three people I see, and I'm warning you about this because I called Bill Cosby before it all happened. Mr. Rogers, I bet you $20,000 there's something dark in his past.
Think so?
If you look at that, nobody's that nice to their fucking neighbor. I'm just saying. I know this is the part of the podcast where it gets creepy, but I'm telling you, it's just that moment.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Be
think
honest,
that, I mean,
that
maybe.
he smiles, and I'm like, you're hiding some serious shit. You got some bodies in the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess those are the ones that they least expect, right?
Never trust a man who invites their mailman into their house. These are words I live by. And then the silence is just key to my point.
Never. Okay, say that again.
Never let a mailman into your house.
Hmm.
That's what he did on the show. I haven't even seen Mr. Rogers before, but I've seen like the movie with Tom Hanks.
But why would you never let a mailman into your home?
Why? Because he delivers packages at the door. You don't let a guy into your house unless he's got like a really good Amazon package. If he's delivering you a pizza oven, then you let him into your house.
What if it was a very heavy object that he needed to?
I don't know what delivery service you have, but every time I have a very heavy object or something that says fragile on it, they just toss that shit at the door like it's a burrito flinging up onto your doorstep. I'm like, holy,
What?
I get hot sauce delivered to me. And every time a bottle is broken and they double wrap it in like bubble wrap and shit, I'm like, I just want to meet my UPS guy and be like, what are you doing? He's like, I just don't even look. I just right behind the shoulder, right freaking toss him
Oh,
out the
wow.
window, right onto the door. I'm like, why? Why don't you just walk it up to the door?
So, okay, you said hot sauce. What kind of hot sauce is it? Like as hot as ketchup, or is it what?
All right. Shout out to David from Way Hot Sauce. He made me a hot sauce that was ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper extract. He couldn't sell it to the public. Um, I gave a drop to my cousin and he vomited 4 times, and also he has PTSD when it comes to hot sauces. Me, I'm part of the pepper community, even though I don't do any of these insane challenges. But
Hmm.
this thing is hotter than a ghost pepper and a Carolina Reaper fused together. It's stuff that people in the chili community do on those challenge videos. It's hotter than hot ones. Let's say that. Like
Yeah.
I've destroyed the last dab, a whole bottle in 2 days. It wasn't hot to me, but this one, like I chugged half of this bottle and I felt it in my intestine, and I was like, that really hurts. Like you can feel like a knife sticking into you. And I'm like, this is awesome because you just want to kill somebody. Somebody's making pasta in the house. You just dump it all in the freaking marinara sauce. Like someone's going to get a rude fucking awakening.
Y- Um, yeah, you're gonna have to let me know the name of that again and send me a message, a private message on what the name of that is again, because I love hot sauce, and whenever I make pizzas, I put hot sauce on my pizza. I know that's kind of weird, but that's not as weird as ranch.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say ranch. That's the scariest one for me. But I actually know a few people. I'll give a shout out to him right now. Caesar from Smoking Hot Sauce. He's actually in California. He's worked on a recipe. He's been on my podcast before. You can listen to his episode. He's got one coming out called Mad Motives we created on the podcast. You would love his sauce, dude. He spent 15 years making it. It's not super hot, but it's very, very tasteful and it's very, very good.
What part of California, if you don't mind me asking? Do you know?
I'd have to send you the details later. I don't want to give out his
Okay. Yep.
addy unless you want to come to my house and send me weird stuff. You want to make me a pizza?
Sure. Do that and send you the pizza frozen.
I want like 10 cans of pineapple on it.
See, in that case, I hard pass on that.
You should find that guy that was with the arm all the way in the vat of freaking sauce, and you should get him
Have
on
him
your
make it for
pizza company.
you.
You should get him in your pizza company, like do a team. Like he's got unethical stuff. It's like a TV show that could be on MTV. There's one guy that sticks his hand in marinara sauce, and the other guy is the pizza expert, and together they make one and a half pizza.
Garbage pizza.
Garbage pizza. It's a hit show. It's probably better than Teen Mom.
Better than what? Teen Mom.
Teen Mom. Well, look, I think I've wasted enough of your time, Mario. He could be Luigi. Mario and Luigi. I freaking got it figured out.
Which would be what?
The pizza show for MTV we're going to pitch next week.
Mario and Luigi pizza show.
Yeah, but and you're like, fuck Luigi. And Luigi's that guy with his arm in the vat. You ever think where he's at right now? He's probably doing some amazing things. Watch him be
He
like
probably is.
Bill Gates. He started Google or some shit.
He probably started a startup or something. I don't know. You're probably right though.
Get some skinned marinara sauce. Why is it called skinned marinara sauce? Because I put my arm in there and you get all my dead skin cells. Do you shower before? Nope. Right after a workout, just right into the marinara sauce.
Yeah, that would be some garbage marinara sauce.
I mean, can we judge him? Because that's technically how some artists do stuff. Like artists put paint on their face and go, "Oh, I gotta blend into the canvas, man," and they like start slapping stuff. He's probably doing that with his pasta sauce.
I don't know if you would call that an artist putting their entire arm where, yeah, we don't know where his elbow has been. We don't know where his arm's been or his hands been. Yeah, I don't
Bet
think that
you
that would.
$20 if you walk into San Francisco and you see a homeless man throw poop on the side of a building. You'd be like, he's an artist. He's perfecting his craft. No, that's just a guy that's probably very, very dehydrated and also probably going through major heat exhaustion.
Or withdrawals of some drug.
Yeah, maybe just, I don't know, Papa John's withdrawal. I tell you, it's a cult, man. He's feeding you something and it's not pizza.
Probably had
Anybody
a
that's
laxative.
listening, anybody that's listening to the end of this podcast, I would like to thank you so much for just hearing my ramblings of a madman. And also, I would like to thank Mario for coming on to the podcast and giving me his sweet, sweet time.
Dude, thanks for being flexible. I know that this was kind of a uh, difficult to try to get me on earlier, but thanks for being flexible. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you being on, man, and congratulations. And I hope that it is a happy, healthy baby when it is born.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.